So, taming the inner child. I mean, just a moment ago, in 40 seconds, I mentioned about the 95% of what we do is based on emotional response patterns. It's totally subconscious. We don't even realise we're doing it. And when I tell this to a lot of people, they get a real disconnect from that. They're like, 95% of my day I'm spent completely unconscious as such. You know, I absorb what I do, I see what I do, I take an active role in making those decisions. That's what we think. But actually, what you've got to understand is, what is the subconscious mind? And if you ever are in a situation and something happens and you immediately react to it, yeah? Well, actually, you've got to dissect the word react. What you're doing is you're acting out a previous behaviour. It's as simple as that. Because it is an automatic response pattern. It's something you did instantaneously, so therefore you didn't consider it, you didn't think about it, you didn't have a conscious role in that decision. Because our feelings shape our actions. How we feel in any given situation dictates actually what we do in that situation. So if we feel scared, the chances are we'll be very hesitant. We'll be very reluctant to jump in. And what we're working on is something that's, you know, part of what they call the animalistic mind, the amygdala. It's part of our fight or flight system. It is a part of us that over thousands, hundreds of thousands of years has been there to save our lives. Now, we're a herding animal. We like to follow the crowd. Jim Rohn said we become an amalgamation of the top 5 people we spend the most time with. And if you ever recognise and be mindful about your actions when you go into social groups, what you tend to do is pick up little mannerisms of people in the group, or you'll find people in the group pick up little mannerisms of yours. And it's our way of endearing ourselves to other people. Yeah? We kind of subconsciously want to show them that we like them. Yeah? Now, our environment when we're young, I mean, there's another scary statistic. When we talk about 95% of what we do is subconscious, well, 80% of that behaviour, 80% of everything you do every day was before you were 12 years old. So that's 80% of your decisions, 80% of your choices is your 12-year-old self or younger emotionally making them. Now, if anybody who's got kids in the room, or anybody who's had experience of 12-year-old kids or younger, would you entrust them with your major decisions in life? Chances are you might be reluctant to do so. But this programming that was established before you were 12 is the driving factor. Because how you feel is your subconscious. And how you feel shapes your actions. And then your actions shape your results. So in reality, how you feel is actually the single most important thing to our human lives. In fact, people talk about success, and it's how you measure success, which differs from person to person. One person, you know, I was doing this talk yesterday, and you know, I asked this guy if he wanted to be a millionaire, and he's like, no, I'm not bothered. So some people, everybody has a different level. The fascinating thing is our emotional relationship with money can be tested. So there's one way that I talk to the subconscious mind, and one way you can. This is something you can use at home. It's like a little tool you can take away. It's called psychokinesiology. So I need a little volunteer, if anybody wants to pop up and I can demonstrate it. Go on, who's going to be brave enough?
I will. No.
Go for it. Thank you very much. Give me a round of applause. So this technique works like a lie detector. Yeah? Don't be too scared. I'm not asking any dodgy questions. It's not like kind of act. What do you want to know? So people have heard of a lie detector. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So a lie detector measures physiological changes in the body when you tell a lie. And it's again the fight or flight system. So what happens is when you tell a lie, your heart rate goes up. Yeah? You start to sweat. Now these are a couple of the physiological responses that happen. Now the reason is it's fight or flight. In other words, we're getting ready to fight for our lives or run the hell out of there. Yeah? So, what do we need to fight or run? Well, we need energy. Yeah, we need strength. So our heart rate pumps more blood around our body. So we've preemptively got that blood flowing. Yeah, we start to sweat because we're about to get rid of heat through that exercise and that exertion. So we preemptively sweat. This is why when you get anxious, you get all sweaty and your heart starts pumping. Yeah, it thinks you're going to die. So another thing that happens is when you tell a lie, which is what we're going to measure here, is a thing called cognitive dissonance, which is a conflict between the rational part of your brain and the motor cortex, which is dealing with the muscle function. So if you can stand here, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right.
Right. So I want your left arm. So what we're going to do, we're just going to put the arm straight out. We use the non-dominant arm for testing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push down on your arm, and I just want you to stop me. Your job is just to keep your arm there. It's as simple as that. But also, feel how much effort's taking. It's not a muscle test, we're just getting a baseline. So resist, so no, you keep your arm there. Yeah, so nice and strong. Right, yeah, you've got that. So one more time, nice and strong. Okay, so we've got that kind of baseline. So I want to tell everybody your name in the form of a statement. So I want to say, my name is, and your name.
My name is Gabriel Ritchie.
Resist. Same strength. Yeah, say it again.
My name is Gabriel Ritchie.
And resist. Yeah, still same strength. So pick a girl's name.
Jennifer.
Say, my name is Jennifer.
My name is Jennifer.
Say it one more time.
My name is Jennifer.
It's good fun, we've got it on video now. Say it again.
My name is Jennifer.
And resist. Wow. You see that? So say, I'm a man.
I'm a man.
And resist. Nice and strong. Say, I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
And resist. You see that? Yeah?
Yes.
So basically what happens is that there's a delay, there's a conflict. Our brains are like computers and it works like a little algorithm. So when you get conflicting algorithms, you get spurious results. Yeah, so whenever you go on Amazon and you see a price of a chip for £999,999, what it is an algorithm on the internet that searches out and looks at the prices, it finds a conflict and then it loops. So this is what's happening here. Yeah? You physically go weak when you tell a lie. So you can use this as a really accurate tool. Yeah? So if it was testing someone's relationship with money, right, there's a test we can do. So just nice and strong. Okay. So, right, so you don't have to repeat anything, just listen, right? And I'm going to say a statement as if I'm you, and your arm will react accordingly. Yeah? So we're going to say, as Gabriel, I completely love and accept myself now that I'm happy to earn enough. Same strength, nice and strong. So that would say to me that you're earning enough, you're paying your bills, everything's quite relatively comfortable. Yeah? So the next test is, as Gabriel, I completely love and accept myself now that I'm happy to earn millions. Now I'm sure consciously you would be happy to earn millions, wouldn't you? Yeah? It would be a nice thing. Yeah? I mean, you know, when we talk about millions, it doesn't necessarily mean you're greedy. If you've got a couple of million, do you imagine how much good you can do? Yeah? How much you can invest in charities and things like that. You know, money these days, we're conditioned to think it's vulgar to have money. Money's the root of all evil and things like that. And this is why we have subtle programming in ourselves. So the thought of actually earning millions physically causes you stress and weakens you. Right? Now this is the reason why 80% of lottery winners go bankrupt within 2 years. They don't have an emotional strength and architecture which is in keeping with having money, because they've never had money like that. So this is the challenge. If you're wanting to be or do something you've never done, your internal programming may have resistance towards it. Yeah? So thank you very much. Give me a quick round of applause.
Hi, Jennifer.
Well, I've got it on video. I'll send you it. So what it is conditioning. Now the best way to look at conditioning, there's a thing that I call the flea analogy. Right? Now, if you get a flea, put it in a box, right? Now that flea, what are they renowned for?
Jumping.
Jumping, yes. And sucking blood. Yeah? So jumping is what their game is. Right? Now, a flea can jump around about 28 centimetres. Now that's the equivalent of someone our size jumping over the Eiffel Tower. So if I was the flea, and this is my box, and I attempted to jump as vigorously as I could, what's going to happen?
You hit the roof.
I'm going to hit the roof pretty hard, yeah? And I'm going to hit the roof and land on my feet and go, I'm not going to do that again. So next time I'm going to cadence how much I actually jump. So I'm going to do it a little bit less. Now, if you get a flea and put it in this box, eventually after a period of time, what it will do is it will jump until it misses the lid just by a little bit. And now it's known, it's been conditioned by its environment to know that if I jump this high, it doesn't hurt. If I go any further, it causes pain. Now you take that lid off, that flea will never, ever escape. It's been conditioned by its environment to stay within its confines. We call that our comfort zone. So in life, what happens is, just a little example, let's say you're 6 years old at school, and the teacher goes, right Johnny, can you stand up and tell me the answer to the question on the board? And Johnny stands up and he goes, oh, it's 432! And it's like, no, it's 5. And you're like, and everybody laughs. So now he's like, oh God, standing in front of people is embarrassing. Yeah? What I've got to say, I get it wrong. Now, little Johnny sits down and never stands up again. Now he gets to 25 and 30 or whatever, and 40 and 50, and he's got to come to a networking meeting and stand up in front of a group of people. And he's getting closer to his turn, and his stomach's churning, and his heart's going up, and he's starting to sweat. So that's what they call an implicit memory, right? Little Johnny doesn't actually remember when he was 6 years old in class and he stood up and got embarrassed. That memory, that physical memory is maybe long gone. But that emotional memory is still there and very active, because it's our fight or flight. What it's saying is, you've experienced this before, this happened, get out of here! Yeah? Because it doesn't want to stay there. It's fight or flight, it's self-preservation. Because the one thing that we've established as humans over the millennia is that if we freeze and do nothing, if we just stop in our tracks with fear, you've heard of the phrase frozen with fear and things like that. Well, the thing is if you stop and do nothing, your likelihood of survival is vastly increased. I mean, even in the wild, you probably have heard with a bear. If you meet a bear in the woods, just look passive. If you run, it wants to chase. An animal's natural instinct is to chase and hunt. So if you stand and look passive to a bear, because you can't outrun a bear, you can't outclimb a bear, I mean, it's going to take some big breast kahunas to stand there and just look it in the eye and go, hello. But that is actually the best thing to do. Now, in the fear response, actually, predominantly most of the time, that is that debilitating thing. It freezes you in the tracks, and that's why you stand up. You know, when little Johnny stands up and he's, and he can't bring his words out. And that's that fight or flight system. And it's all about self-preservation. The problem is it's not fit for purpose these days. It really doesn't help us, it hinders us. Because we don't have a saber-toothed tiger ready to attack. So, these programs, these automatic response patterns, I know I've picked up a few extreme examples, but this is the script that's happening in the background. Yeah? Now, our relationship with money is related to conditioning from when we were young. And this is the reason why poverty breeds poverty, middle class breeds middle class, wealth breeds wealth. Because their environment, the people in poverty, were brought up by parents who were maybe serial unemployed on their benefits, and all they do is moan about, oh, to get anywhere in this world, you've got to have a silver spoon in your mouth, you know, you'll never amount to what you. And what they're doing is they're projecting their own failure onto their children. They're doing it out of love. That's the thing, they're not doing it maliciously. It's because they haven't experienced it, and they had hopes and dreams, and they were crushed on the rocks. They never achieved what they really wanted to achieve. So, it hurt them. So to prevent their children from going through the same experience, they temper them down. No, you know, just go to school and get a 9 to 5 and retire and die, is the script of the modern society. Modern society. I think it's very modern at all, but that's a different foresight entirely. So this is the thing that we've got to overcome. The challenge is it's completely subconscious. Now, the subconscious, the best way to describe it is it's a bit like Google, right? If you put in Google, I don't want stress, what you get is 33 million pages on stress. It doesn't see the I don't want. Yeah? It looks for keywords and finds you information around that. Your subconscious is the same. We work on a thing called confirmation bias. So what we want to do is confirm what our beliefs are. No matter what they are, they could be completely irrational, but we want to confirm them. That is basically that thing. It's called the reticular activating system for the technical term. Yep. And to give you an idea, if there's any technical bods in the room, because I'm quite scientific and quite geeky, I love my technical stuff. Each one of your eyes is a 475 megapixel camera, which can take up to 60 frames per second. What that means in terms is, you can actually, you take on through your eyes 65 billion bits of data per second. 65 gigabyte. That's huge. Your conscious mind, the bit that I'm talking to you right now, can only process 40 bits per second, 40. Yeah? It's quite a few zeros less than what's actually coming in. And then we've got about 100 million bits of data coming in through our nervous system. And then we've got our ears, which sometimes are maybe limited in the data they're bringing in, but you know, this is the type of level of information that's coming in. Consciously, we could not cope with that. So what we need is a filtration system to give us what we need at any moment in time. So this reticular activating system gets all this information. We've measured the processing rate. That's about 40 million bits per second. So it can handle this massive data influx. So if I say to you now, your left foot, suddenly you'll know what your left foot feels like. A moment ago, you weren't thinking about it. That information was going into your brain, but you had no reason to use that information and assimilate it. So therefore, you just blocked it out. And this is how we operate in life. Has ever bought a new car and thought, oh God, I'll have one of them? You don't see many of them. You get in the car, drive home, and it's like, they're everywhere. Yeah? Anybody? And that's basically what we're working on. We're working on pattern recognition. So what we do is, when your subconscious knows that you're interested in something, what it will do is, in this peripheral vision, I mean, to give you an idea about your eyes, put your thumb out like that, yeah, full length, stick your thumb up, look at your thumbnail. The high definition part of your vision is the size of your thumbnail. All the rest is low definition. So the centre of your vision, the size of your thumbnail, is the high definition part. All the rest is low definition. But that's still 65 gigabyte data per second. Now, in that information, what we look for is patterns. So when you go and buy that car, those patterns were there in your consciousness before. You just chose to ignore them. Yeah? Now you've got that pattern. It will see it in your peripheral vision. It will say, hang on a minute, that looks like what? Have a look over there. Have a look at it. Yeah? And then you look, and you think you've just looked at it and noticed it, but actually your subconscious saw it before and told you to look. Yeah? Now, this kind of thing happens where, has anybody run around the house, you know, looking for their glasses? Right, can't find my glasses, can't find my glasses. Oh, bugger. Yeah, I've done that. You know, I can't find my phone, can't find me. Look, I'm gonna have to go, I can't find my phone. I've done that one. Yeah? It's because the processing rates aren't being able to get that information, and you're telling yourself, I can't find something. So you run past your keys twice, saying you can't find them, and it's because you chose to ignore them. You can't see the wood for the trees. Everybody's kind of heard that expression. And it is all part of self-programming. So in life, if you're saying, do you know what, it's really hard to find clients, right? Business is a nightmare. I can't find a partner that loves me, or whatever it is. What you're doing is you're putting a pattern in your subconscious for that to act out. So it doesn't actually process what you want out of life, it actually processes what you expect. And your expectation is embedded in your beliefs. So if you've got a certain belief, your Google search engine, called the reticular activating system, will always be searching this data influx for the key points that prove you right. You want it to prove you wrong, but actually the agenda is confirmation bias. It wants to prove you right. And this is the big problem. So if that script that's in the background is in conflict for the conscious script that you're choosing to adopt, well, that causes a lot of stress and conflict. And how that manifests in our life, it can be depression, it can be procrastination, it can be saying the wrong thing in a meeting, which might get you business. Because if your emotional relationship with money means that, you know, when we're testing, one thing you can do, and you can do this when you get home, so make sure you're nice and relaxed in between, do a test, say your name, say somebody else's name, yeah? So make sure you're testing right. And then say, I completely love and accept myself now that I am happy to earn up to 10,000 a year, up to 20,000 a year, up to 30,000 a year, and so on and so forth. At the moment that actually becomes a lie to you, you go weak. Yeah? I quite often do this test privately when I'm doing one-to-ones and things like that. Probably not suitable to do on a stage. But everybody goes weak at some point. Now, from my experience, 95% of people go weak pretty much at where they are. And when you ask them, how long have you been here? And they're like, oh yeah, I've done this for about 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is. Another thing for entrepreneurs is when they come out of a employed position and go self-employed. And I've had a number of clients where they just can't fathom it. They were 120 grand a year in this high-flight, top-paid job where they were the chief, kind of expert in their field, in their business, and paid incredible good money to do it. And they thought, you know what? Instead of earning this company money off my talents, I'm going to go and start my own business and actually earn the money off my own talents. And then they start a business, and then they can't seem to break past 20 grand or 30 grand a year. And they seem so frustrating. They're like, they beat themselves up. It's like, why is this happening to me? I'm good, I'm great, I can do this. But actually, when you test them, when you're employed by a company and you go to that company with a skill and they say, we'll pay you X amount a year for your skill, what you're doing is you're leveraging the company's confidence. So their ability to generate business and keep you in work is what you're leveraging. Suddenly when you're by yourself, you haven't got that team around you, fears start to come in. And those fears start to dominate. And when you start thinking and struggling, that's when you go into meetings and you don't see the opportunities. Yeah? Because you're choosing not to see them. I know that sounds so frustrating. It's like, no, I don't want to choose not to see them, I want to choose to see them. And this is where doing that little test can establish where actually you are. You can find out anything you need to know, and all you need to do is say it as a closed statement. It's either yes or no, true or false. Can't be ambiguous. You've got to be very succinct with the statement. But it's a very powerful tool. And doctors use it these days. You can actually use pressure points and find out how healthy your organs are. Yeah, what mineral deficiencies are. There's a really fascinating test. I don't think we've actually got anything that would be suitable here. But if you actually do this with, say, a bottle of water, and you say, this water is good for my body, and muscle test it, you'll be strong. Then get a bottle of whiskey, put that to your chest, and say, this whiskey is good for my body, you go weak. Everybody I do it on, it never fails. It is awesome. And that shows you the power. Your body actually knows what is good for you and what isn't good for you. Even if you've actually never drunk it before as well, which is a kind of weird thing, because you think, oh, it's like a cellular memory that it's remembering. Yeah? But what it is that your heart, I don't know if you're familiar with this, it's not common knowledge these days, your heart is actually a brain. It's got over 40,000 brain neurons in. It has a neural cortex, just like the neural cortex in your brain. And in fact, actually, you have 20 times more neural pathways going from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart. So if you look at order of precedence, what your heart thinks is 20 times more important than what your brain thinks. In fact, modern neuroscience is the old adage that memories and thoughts and everything are just in the brain is complete bunkum. We've disproved that beyond belief. In fact, your gut has more brain neurons than a cat. So your gut is more intuitive and more intelligent than a cat. Now, in the Western world, we talk about our gut instinct. So what is that? Yeah? Does your gut actually have thoughts and communicate them to you? Well, in fact, yes, it does. In fact, it communicates them to you a lot more, again, with the heart. There's more buses going to the brain than there is from the brain to the heart. Well, actually, your body produces chemicals, which are called neural peptides. These neural peptides are basically signaling molecules. They send a message to the brain, and they control the brain. Yeah? So, cortisol, stress hormone. Yeah? So, in our brain we've got these neuropeptide receptors, and it changes the way we process information. So when you're having cortisol, what you do is you hesitate. If there's a really good TED talk, if you want to make a note, by Amy Cuddy, C-U-D-D-Y. And it talks about how these neuropeptides, these chemicals, affect your behaviour. And again, I don't think we need a TED talk to make us realise that stress makes us act in a funny way. Yeah? So there's ways of altering those chemicals to eliminate the stress instead of doing simple poses. You know, how you stand. If you look at someone confident, you know, they're always confident like this. But if you're actually stressed and you're feeling anxious, if you actually stood, let's call it the Wonder Woman position, if you actually stand like that for 2 minutes, you significantly reduce your cortisol level and increase your testosterone level. Testosterone is the neuropeptide for confidence. Yeah? So, understanding your body, being mindful, being thoughtful, recognizing behavior. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. But if you want to change your habits, you first want to know what's controlling them. So thank you very much.